If you thought the recent controversy over woke D&D was over, no. Places like Screen Rant actually want D&D to go more woke, believe it or not. They are now attacking the DROW and the Drizzt narrative, which is R.A. Salvatore's classic. If you've not read those books, they're some of the finest fantasy books ever written. It doesn't matter that they're an IP or not. They were a wonderful, wonderful thing. And now it's problematic because of these characters. Really, really weird. We're going to get into this and their bastardization of the lore for their own little weird headcanon in just a moment as we go through this article. Smash that like and subscribe button. Join us here, guys. We are almost to 50,000 subscribers thanks to people like you, and I really appreciate you being there. And I cover all things science fiction and fantasy, gaming, pop culture. I'm here for you to cover the news, and I am a fantasy author myself. This is a 6-book series which has a wonderful world building, and I think if you like old Dungeons & Dragons, you'll really enjoy this. It's got airship adventure. It's a crew that goes out and fights monsters, gets just caught up in the middle of a crazy war, and it builds into an epic storyline. Please check it out. It's in the description below. Support our channel. Support our fantasy fiction. It's on ebook, print, and audio for your convenience. And grab the whole series. It really does build up, and I appreciate all of you. You guys have sold us a ton of books these last couple of weeks. That's why we're continuing getting that orange tag, that #1 bestseller spot in multiple categories. And thank you so much for everybody who's a reader. Really appreciate you. Again, that's in the description below. All right, let's look into this. This is by Christina Trujillo, who writes a lot of the woke content for Screen Rant. She's one of the worst. We did an expose on Screen Rant a while back. They're required to post woke stuff. It's really a disaster over there, and that's exactly what's going to be shown here. Dungeons & Dragons has to confront its DROW problem so it can finally reward adventuring parties loyal to the Legend of Drizzt books with an adaptation, which has been overdue since '88. Now, I agree with this, but there isn't a DROW problem. There's nothing problematic about this. Let fantasy species be what they are. The DROW are evil elves, and yes, they're dark. It has nothing to do with black people, which I'm sure this article is going to get into. It's really ridiculous. Dark Elf Drizzt was introduced in 1988's R.A. Salvatore's The Crystal Shard. Great book. The first book in the Icewind Dale trilogy. He's the center of a lot of D&D gameplay and is also important to many who have never played D&D in their lives. Adapting it to the screen may be D&D's biggest commercial opportunity. Probably would be. But a DROW controversy stands in its way. Literally nobody is thinking this except for Screen Rant. This is a total attempt to fabricate woke stuff to drum up controversy and push D&D into more wokeness again. This is I'm so tired of these people. Salvatore's books appear on the New York Times bestseller, upward of 30 million copies sold, and that's why I said there's no controversy. This is garbage. And, of course, that's it. So here's the controversy she talks about. A live action would entail confronting the nature of the DROW, the color of their skin. Like I said, it's just about black people. And this is it. That the orcs weren't black people enough. They tried that with Tolkien. Orcs are just a stand-in for black people. And then you see Amazon, Rings of Power, makes them these immigrant families to try to be nice to the evil fantasy corrupted beings, and that's all they are. Now, dark elves are also corrupted elves, and that's okay. You're allowed to have that. There's nothing wrong with that. Because it says dark, they trigger black people when their skin is like literally blue or black in most things, not like a African person. They don't look like African people whatsoever. It's so ridiculous. Oh, these people are insufferable, and this is what they do every single time. The politically dubious nature of the DROW started being discussed long before 2020. No, it didn't. This is all new reinvention crap where everything has to be offensive. Everything has to be a violation of the woke narrative. Everything has to be something that hurts your little fifis and causes you to retreat to your safe space on Screen Rant. Oh, it's very, very painful. This is one of the worst articles I've ever read, and it shows just how insane these people are. This is what they do. They lay awake at night in their beds going, "Oh, black people." They're obsessed. I mean, no normal person thinks this, and that's because normal people are not the racist ones. It's the woke people who are thinking about this full times that actually are. I mean, if you have to think of a DROW as a black person, you're probably the racist one. I mean, let's be honest. That you're crazy in the head if that's the case. And so here it is. DROW were invented by D&D creator Gary Gygax. Here's the attack on Gygax again. In Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Monster Manual as an evil black-skinned race. Needless to say, D&D had to rethink that. In 2020, a blog post said they have since removed. Hasbro finally addressed the mounting controversy. There was no controversy, and they're addressing it probably actually caused the controversy, and actually talking about it was something that the players were not having any problems with, is why they had to delete it, because the players were like, screw you, Hasbro, for doing this to us. And here it is. DROW have been characterized as monstrous and evil, because they are, using descriptions that are painfully reminiscent of how real-world ethnic groups have been and continue to be denigrated. Oh my gosh, that's not right. You see how these people hate D&D, they hate the setting of D&D. They can't just have good and evil be good and evil, because they have to make some sort of weird political thing about it and make it a modern times BS every single time. This is why modern D&D is a disaster. And, you know, if Hollywood actually wants to make money, here's what you do. You ignore people like this 100%. You adapt the books faithfully and do not change anything. And guess what? You're going to have a great movie because they're great books. That's how it works. We've seen it with Harry Potter. That's why those movies stand the test of time and work really well. They're just faithful adaptations of the book. They didn't change anything. We're looking at now HBO looking at like race swap casting just to like mess with things and create that little Hollywood crap these days. That's going to ruin it immediately. It does every single time. And the fact that they are thinking about this shows that they shouldn't adapt this in the current environment, because if they do, they're going to just destroy it. And then it won't be a success. And then they'll go, oh, I guess fans just didn't want a D&D movie after all. Just like they did with the stupid D&D movie that like really didn't have anything to do with D&D like a couple years ago. I mean, these people are so insufferable. This is what they do. Here we are. Cancel culture looms large. Yeah, because of people like you, Screen Rant. D&D publisher Wizards of the Coast bought Hasbro, didn't make the DROW less evil. It retreated from presenting DROW as a race. They began using the word species instead of race. Yeah, this is because of people like you. Because of people closer to align with real-world parallels to avoid uncomfortable comparisons. Such weak sauce, and this is why modern D&D sucks. These people are just ridiculous. And here it is, Honor Among Thieves. They're talking about it in this sort of deal. I don't really care about this sort of thing. D&D gradually shifted from a depiction of drow skin color from black to purple and gray, but the never issued a clear, unending declaration of what it actually is. A TV show would make the drow varying shades of purple to avoid complications of real-world parallels. So I don't understand how, like, an actual black skin, which would be dark, which if they're living in caves and sort of are a stealthy, hidden people, it would make sense that they are the color of night. That doesn't correlate to real-world skin colors either, my friends. I mean, it's so stupid. And here it is. Or it can fully embrace its ebony-skinned drow and use a majority black or POC cast, a la Black Panther, as a statement against whitewashing. This is all these people want. They want to stoke race wars with even things like fantasy races in Dungeons & Dragons. So ridiculous. Legend of Drizzt stands against racism. Okay. It is an anti-racist message. It actually is, because if you read the DROW books where Drizzt actually comes out of his deal, ironically, they're really, really racist. The DROW are against everybody else. So it kind of is modern times where white people are actually attacked as an unintended thing, right? Where like the light-skinned elves who are like the high elves or wood elves or whatnot are attacked because of they're not like the drow. So it is very much poignant, and you could point it to a different sort of message than these people are intending by this, which is very, very funny on this level. But as you can see, this is how crazy these people, if it wants to be an ally, not everything has to be an ally, has to be about this. If you actually just made a beautiful adaptation of the Icewind Dale trilogy, which really didn't have as much racism tones to it as much as it was an adventure party that was really actually accurately portraying D&D, the later prequels that actually showed how Drizzt came out of his little shell was really about that, and was really about the dark-skinned elves hating the light-skinned people, as I said before. Very funny. This is just ridiculous, but it shows how hard these people are trying to push and how they want to destroy D&D. They want to make it into some sort of race war concept rather than just letting people play fun things at the table like they used to, not worrying about this, because nobody ever thought of the drow as black people before Screen Rant talked about it, or before Hasbro actually talked about it in 2020. That was not a thing. This is just ridiculous, and it needs to stop. Orcs are bad. Drow are bad. That's okay. They have evil alignment. leave it alone and leave us alone. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you for being here. Oh, Screen Rant, just like it. On a Sunday morning, it drives me crazy. Please check out some great fantasy for Steam and Country and its sequels, guys. Grab this on ebook, print, and audio. If you love fantasy, if you love fun D&D adventure style stuff, you're going to really enjoy this. It's in the description below. Thank you for being there.